Development and Convention. Thank you for joining today's webinar, Apps and Technology for Efficiency. We have our presenter today, Ryan Evans, VP of Business and Community Relations with Salt Lake Chamber. The Salt Lake Chamber was also a finalist in this year's Chamber of the Year Awards. Ryan, you want to tell us a little bit about yourself?
Absolutely. Thanks, Crystal. To start out, I guess I've been with the Salt Lake Chamber now for almost 11 years. I started in sales way back when and eventually have had a few different positions along the way, but now as I work for the Salt Lake Chamber, one of the largest chambers in the country representing almost 8,000 members, and truly we're a statewide chamber with a member in every county throughout the state. Principally my role for this organization these days is the community relations, so community programming, as well as collaborative relationships with other business organizations across the state that better the business voice and advance the business voice here in Utah.
Okay. Ryan, I am getting a little feedback. Is it possible for you to switch to your handset?
I will do that.
So while Ryan is switching devices, I like to do a few housekeeping points. Please mute your phone. Please do not put us on hold because some of you have hold music. We will take questions throughout the presentation as well as questions at the end of the presentation. You can enter your questions through the chat function in your panel window, or you can raise your hand and we'll call on you for an audio question. If you have any questions regarding the presentation, feel free to chat that question to me, and I will be monitoring that box for you. Okay, Ryan, can we get a test real quick, see how you sound?
Is this better?
Yes, much better.
Excellent.
Okay, and I'll take it. I'll turn it over to you.
Thank you very much, Crystal. Thank you, everyone, for being on the line today. Good morning and good afternoon, depending upon where you are. I was telling Crystal just ahead of time to start things off, I just wanted to let you know that we will be probably about 30 minutes as far as the presentation goes today. It's maybe in that spirit of being efficient. I felt like it was more important to give you good content and give that content in a reasonable amount of time rather than try to fill an hour time slot and give you a lot of content that maybe wasn't quite as important. So again, just being efficient, we'll probably be about 30 minutes of content, and then we'll take some questions and answers if people have them. I have plenty of time to be on the line afterward. So with that, thank you again for being on the line today. I want to talk to you a little bit about apps and technology. The reason I came up with this presentation was that I constantly feel busy, and I'm sure that most of you do as well. I don't know about many of you, but if you've ever answered the question, how are you, with some form of the answer, I'm busy, or I'm good, but I'm busy, you know, something of that nature. It happens to me a lot, and I notice it in people a lot. The more and more that we go, the more and more I hear that answer to a simple question like, how are you? One of the funny ones that I heard recently was, I'm so busy, I feel that I can't see straight. Truly, that's a person who's pretty busy. But with success comes some responsibility, and it seems like a lot more responsibility keeps getting thrown at me, and I'm sure it's something that you all know as well. There's a great quote from Mother Teresa that I love. I know God won't give me anything I can't handle. I just wish he didn't trust me so much. And I feel like that a lot at work, except that at work we're often asked to do it, and sometimes it's more than we can probably truly handle. But nonetheless, if our board asks, if our boss is asked, it's something that we have to do, and it keeps on coming. But because of how busy I always feel, I've been on a little journey to be more efficient and better utilize the tools available to me. On my path for greater efficiency, one of the things I realized is that most of us have smartphones these days. If you don't, by the way, this probably won't be the best use of time for you today. But for the most part, many of us have a phone of some kind that makes calls, accesses the internet, allows us to send and receive emails, and of course, we can take some pictures on it. Well, when we buy these expensive gadgets, we're given a user's manual that shows us how to turn it off and on, set up certain functions, and generally interface with the phone. But what I've decided is each of us could really use a user's guide on not just how to use the phone, but to really take advantage of the technology that's at our fingertips. Today's conversation is an introduction to what I like to think is a bigger and better user's manual. It's a manual that isn't a one-time read, and never look at again manual, but rather one that people continually go back to for information, a manual that is dynamic and collaborative, and that changes after we have conversations with people to learn how they're using their phones. So that is one thing I would love to throw in is as I finish today, if you feel like contacting me because you have some really good apps that you would like to share, please feel free to send them to me because I'm always looking for better ways to improve my efficiency in my job. So a while back, I literally started researching efficiency and work-related apps where I came up with this presentation. I was literally spending part of my night going through the App Store to see what I might be able to utilize to make my job a bit easier. And I started compiling a list of all the apps that I really like and that have proven helpful to me in my job. I have some of my favorites to quickly run through today. These apps are all free. There's many paid-for apps, which are great, but that's a different conversation. These apps should increase efficiencies for you, make your job a little bit easier, and perhaps even clear your desk of some clutter. These apps hopefully will turn your phone or tablet into a legitimate work tool. As a short disclaimer before I actually jump into any of the apps, as I said before, if you don't have a tablet or smartphone, probably not the best use of your time today. But I want to let you know that for each app, I will let you know what platform it runs on. Not all of these are available on every device, but what I've found is that if your phone doesn't have one of these apps, it's either coming shortly or you can find something pretty similar if you search in your App Store hard enough. So take a look and see what's there if you're not on an iPhone, for example. Well, with that, let's roll into our first app of the day. So the first app I want to talk about is Easily Do. It's available on the iPhone and Android networks. Easily Do is hands down my new favorite app, and it's probably the second best in my world for creating efficiencies. Easily Do is advertised as a personal assistant in your phone, and I completely agree with that description. When you pull up Easily Do, it will show you a list of tasks that it wants to help you take care of. The more accounts you link to, the more tasks it will find. I have my Outlook, Facebook, LinkedIn, EVERNOTE, and Gmail accounts all linked to Easily Do. Here are some of my favorite tasks that it wants to take care of for me. Easily Do will track friends' birthdays, and with one touch via Facebook, it will send them a birthday wish. You can edit those messages and send a personal note if you want. It tracks popular posts, which is great. Posts that have gotten a lot of attention, and important posts like wedding announcements or the birth of a child, and again, offers to send a note for you right there from the app. You don't need to scroll through your Facebook feed or Twitter feed to find out these type of posts. Easily Do literally puts them right in front of you. Easily Do also tells you the weather. But here's where Easily Do becomes a game changer for work. Easily Do will offer to create a contact from emails you receive from people that are not already in your contacts list. One touch of a button and that person is stored in your phone. Easily Do also goes through your contact list and offers to merge duplicate contacts. I'm not sure about you, but it's not something I have time to do. I certainly don't have a lot of time to merge my contacts, but to have an app that literally does that for me, when sometimes in my address book I found 2 or 3 contacts in there for the same person, this is an invaluable aspect of Easily Do that I really find very valuable to me. I no longer have duplicate entries in my contact list anymore, and the best part was I didn't have to take the time to straighten them all out. Another bonus of Easily Do is that Easily Do adds your calendar appointments to your screen. As you can see on the left, when you open it up, the app uses your GPS location and automatically tells you how far away you are. No more do you have to take the time to plug in the address into a separate navigation app. If you click the View It button at the bottom, it will also open your default navigation app so you can get turn-by-turn instructions when you actually start driving. As a quick little side note on this, that if you have your I guess your settings turned on where you can receive pings from Easily Do, it will actually ping you when it's time to leave, so that on the screen where you see it's a 12-minute drive to the appointment, it would actually ping me 12 minutes and say you've got to get going, basically. It's a great app. If your appointment happens to be a conference call, Easily Do will offer to dial it in for you, and it will save it will automatically save your PIN and dial your PIN for you so you don't need to remember it. Tell me that doesn't save you a little time. Easily Do also tracks packages for you, your airline flights, and even your hotel stays when you're headed out of town. Moving on to the next app. Are there any questions? Doesn't look like there are, so I'm going to keep moving.
Yeah, Ryan, there was one question,
okay.
And I was monitoring the box. I don't know if you said it or not. Will that app link to Outlook?
Yes.
Okay.
So it links to many, many different accounts. It keeps they keep adding more that you can add. But as far as Outlook goes, just so you're aware, that's where it picks up most of my contacts or offers to add new contacts to my contact list is an email I receive through Outlook. So very, very valuable that way. So Card Munch. Should I move on? Was there another question or was that it?
Yes, go ahead.
Okay, great. Card Munch is available on iPhone, and it's coming soon to BlackBerry and soon thereafter to Android. This app is, again, very valuable. Card Munch is a free business card scanner, and it's a really good one. I've been frustrated with other free scanners in the past, but this one's a product of LinkedIn, and it seems to work great all the time. What I will say is because this isn't available on every network, there are other business card scanners. Just play around with the one that seems to work best for you. If you do have an iPhone, this is very valuable. I highly recommend this one. And if you have a BlackBerry and an Android, keep an eye out for when that does become available to you. But when you get into Card Munch, you simply take a picture of a business card and click Upload, as you can see on the left. Once you take that, within a day or so, when you reopen the app, you'll see that the Card Munch people have actually transcribed the business card information for you. And when you open that up, where you can see where Mark Crompton is, and I click that open, and here's all of his contact information. And if you click on the gray arrow on the right, it offers to save it to your phone's contact list. And if you connect the Connect button on your left, it will offer to connect you to the person on LinkedIn, which is another efficiency measure that I love in the fact that I don't have to go find these people on LinkedIn. Card Munch does it for me, but most importantly, these are all people that I want to be connected to. These are peers or people I'm doing business with. And to have their business card, we've exchanged business cards for a reason. We're doing some business together. We've met together. And quite honestly, since using Card Munch, I would say that my LinkedIn contact list has grown substantially. But most importantly, it's grown substantially with very good contacts for me, people, again, that I'm interacting with on a regular basis. Any other quick questions? Again, some of these we're going to roll through very quickly on some of these apps. Some of them take a little more time.
I don't think we have any questions regarding this app.
Okay, great. Moving on to EVERNOTE. As far as I know, EVERNOTE is available on every major platform: iPhone, Android, Windows, BlackBerry, etc. EVERNOTE was once reviewed as a top 10 must-have app by the New York Times, and it is without a doubt my #1 app for you to consider using. EVERNOTE is very easy to use, and it helps you remember everything across all of your devices that you use via the cloud. It's essentially a powerful note-taking app and file cabinet at your fingertips. There's no way I can cover everything that EVERNOTE does today, but I will spend a few minutes on this, probably more time on this than any other app, because it has the potential to be very valuable to you. EVERNOTE allows you to create notebooks or files for every aspect of your life. As you can see here, I have notes for my work at the chamber, personal notes, a food file, my volunteer responsibilities, and more. Each one of these categories has several note pages within them. Notes are automatically synced so that a note I take on my phone can be viewed on my iPad and on my laptop almost right away. Let me restate that in the sense that literally when I write something down on one device, it's viewable almost immediately on any other device I use. Because of EVERNOTE, I've actually started taking all of my notes from my meetings on my iPhone. I actually make a disclaimer quite often at the beginning of a meeting to let people know that I'm taking notes on my phone and I'm not sending emails or texts. You'd be amazed how many people still look at me as though I'm rude if I don't make that disclaimer, but ultimately it's what I find makes me the most productive by doing my notes right on my phone. So I used to carry a notebook with me. I'm sure many of you can relate to this. Maybe you still are, maybe you aren't. I'd carry a notebook to all of my meetings, and I took notes that never really left the yellow pad. Now those notes I take are not only available on every device automatically, but they're searchable. I can plug in something like ACCE conference or ACCE webinar, for example, and any note that I have that has referenced it will pull up in the search function. It's like carrying a little file cabinet around. A little bonus about the example note that I chose to use on the screen is this is my phone contact list. So I used to write messages down on a piece of paper and scratch them off as I return the phone calls. Now I actually type my messages right into Evernote, so when I leave my office, I have access to the messages I need to return. And if you look at the notes, where there's a phone number, it's actually highlighted in blue. What does that mean? It means that I can literally just click on the link and my phone dials the person. I don't need to look down and keep dialing or copy and paste. I literally just press a button and I'm already contacting that person. Tell me that's not pretty cool and valuable. So, but wait, there's plenty more on Evernote that I want to share, and I think as Chamber people, you'll really appreciate this part. But how many times do you as Chamber of Commerce employees actually go to a meeting and have an agenda in front of you? How many times do you write on that agenda with notes from the meeting or bring the agenda back with you to file away? But how many times do you actually ever do anything with your notes? On the screen, I have an example of a note I took in a meeting. Using the camera icon at the top, Evernote allows you to take a picture of something and file it right within the note. Not only do you not have to upload the information into your computer back at your office, but the previous agenda and notes from the meetings are now available on your phone or your tablet or your laptop in every other meeting that you go to, wherever it might be valuable. You also no longer need to take the agenda back to your desk where it sits and clutters up your space. I can't tell you how many times I've gone through to look at a previous agenda to see if a topic was on there, what we discussed about it. And again, it's all contained within the Evernote app on my phone. The last feature on Evernote that I want to mention, and again, this is just scratching the surface of Evernote, is the audio recording feature. In addition to your notes and your agendas, you can record an entire meeting if you want to. Simply click on the microphone icon up in the top, and when you're done, your audio recording will automatically be embedded right into the note. As you can see from this note, I have an audio file, a copy of an agenda, and I also have some typed notes of my own. I'm not kidding when I say this app has made my life easier. I no longer drag notepads with me everywhere, just my phone, which I have anyway. And the beauty of Evernote is that it also makes me so much more prepared in meetings because of the ability to pull up notes from any other meetings that end up being relevant to the conversation that I'm currently engaged in. And before we move on to Evernote, Crystal, do we have any questions?
I think this question probably applies to all apps. I know that you can, if you have an iPhone, which I do have, that the cloud goes across all of your devices, synchronizes all of your devices. But suppose you have an iPhone and then you have a Mac computer and, I don't know, a different iPad, Android. Is it possible to sync across all three if they're different brands, so to speak?
Yes, in regard to every app, not necessarily, but in regard to Evernote, absolutely. I used to have a BlackBerry, and that's where I first was exposed to Evernote. And I have, so let me give you a little flavor of my life. I used to have the BlackBerry. I now have an iPhone, so it is compatible there with my iPad. I do have a Mac laptop, but I also have a PC desktop that I run some other software that I don't want on my laptop. And on every single one of those, Evernote is on there and, again, automatically syncs as soon as I've woken up that machine. So in the case of my laptop or my desktop, all I have to do is turn it on. It automatically starts syncing with Evernote, and I can pull up these meetings right away. It does not matter what technology you're using. Evernote is the key. That's the one that actually is the cloud itself that stores the information.
Okay, thank you.
No problem. Thank you. Okay, the next 3 or 4 are pretty quick apps. Again, just trying to keep things moving, keep this efficient. And again, I'm always available for questions if people have them afterwards or at a later time. So the next app that I want to talk about is AnyDo. AnyDo is available on the iPhone and Android networks. AnyDo is a simple app, but it's actually one that I find very valuable. It's a task list app, and it's really easy to add upcoming tasks with the stroke of a finger. They can be deleted. It's cloud-based again, so my tasks are available on all of my devices. If one of your tasks is to contact someone, you can see that by putting their name in, and AnyDo looks right at your contact list. You can click on the phone icon, and it will call them directly from the app without dialing. You can see that with the first person there from Scott from PGA and CenturyLink. It was a note that I put in there on my task list to contact Scott via a relationship between PGA and CenturyLink, but they recognized Scott from the PGA, and all I would do is click on that talk icon, and again, it would actually call Scott right from that app. The tasks are all laid out with an accordion style so that you can include in content. That you can include contact without pushing your other tasks lower and lower on the screen. And again, I used to have a pad of paper with my task where I would scratch off what was completed and then rewrite the ones I hadn't gotten to on the new sheet for the week. Those days are long gone. Again, just being much more efficient in how I do my job every single day, and to be able to clear things off at any given time is great from anywhere. So that was a quick one. I don't know if any questions on that one.
No, we don't, but I'm going through the questions, and I may come back to some of the apps that you already spoke about at the end.
Okay, perfect. Sounds good. So moving on to Google Voice. Google Voice, much like EVERNOTE, is available on each of the major platforms. Like other apps, there's a lot that Google Voice can do, but I'm only going to highlight the #1 reason I have it and why people always thank me after I introduce them to it. I've never had anybody that tells me they don't like the Google Voice once they've been exposed to it. And I could be wrong, but for the most part, everybody I know loves this app. Google Voice is a great voicemail transcription service for your phone. Most often these days, phones are coming with this feature, but I've been unsatisfied with the accuracy of some of the other transcription services. And I've really learned to love Google Voice for its accuracy. I think if I had to put an estimate to it, I would say the transcription is about 70% accurate, 80% accurate, but that's enough. This app, as you can see above, records voicemails for me that come to my phone, shows the contact name, and creates a text version of the voicemail. But I bring this up because I can read this voicemail a lot faster than opening my voicemail app, listening to it, and eventually maybe calling the person back. The best part is that I can read voicemails when I'm in other meetings that don't require my full attention. Multitasking is basically what this app allows me to do in a great way. And if I need to listen to it because the transcription wasn't the best in that particular case, well, I only have to press play at the bottom, and it functions just like a regular voicemail. Lastly, Google Voice is cloud-based, so my voicemails are on my iPad and on my laptop if my phone ever dies, or if I'm just working off my phone, my laptop that day on any given day. But again, what's nice about it is sitting in a meeting, you get a phone call, you're not sure why the person called. All I have to do is simply look down at my Google Voice transcription, and I've got a really good feel if I need to call that person back anytime soon. Is it something I need to leave the meeting for? Can I just send them a quick little text from underneath the table? As a chamber employee, as chamber employees that you all are, I know that we sit in a lot of meetings, and it's really helpful if you can actually return some of these voicemails without actually having to call the person. You can literally send them a text or send them an email and say, here's the information that you were looking for. Let me know if you need anything else. Again, just speeding up your day, making your life more efficient. Crystal, anything else on this? Any questions on Google Voice before I move?
No questions on Google Voice right now.
Very good. So moving on to Sign Now. Sign Now is available on the iPhone and Android networks. This app allows you to open documents that require a signature or for you to fill out a blank form. As you can see here, I've pulled open a document that has some fields that need to be filled in. There is a typing feature, and you can see that I've actually typed my name in there. There's a signing feature where you simply use your finger to create your signature. And what's equally nice is you don't have to re-sign every single time. It will store your signature for you if it's the one you want to use often. You can always delete it and re-sign something if you want to, but it will store your signature, so it will automatically add it to you. And down at the bottom, you can see that the signature can be resized so that you can actually make sure that it fits within the parameters, the signing space that you have, so that it doesn't look too small or too big or overlapping something else. You can move it around, etc. You can also use, there's a check mark and a date feature, as you can see on here, so that you can fill in just about any area that you possibly need to fill in on a form that requires action by you. And now, once you've got a completed form, as you can see here, my signature, my type name, my title, the date, etc., with one touch, it can be inserted into an email and sent back to the person that sent it to me. And I did all of that without printing, scanning, or faxing a document. It was all done right on my phone. The last one that I want to talk about today, and this is the last app, is TinyScan. There are many, many scanning options for you. Find the one that works best for your phone. TinyScan is available on the iPhone and Android networks. What's great about TinyScan is it allows you to create a PDF document using the camera application on your phone. So as you can see, I took a picture of a document. This honestly isn't the best picture, but it gives you the flavor of what it can do. But once you've taken a picture, instead of actually just sending multiple pictures to someone of a document that's maybe a couple pages long, TinyScan will lump them all together into one multi-page document, one multi-page PDF. But it also doesn't send a picture that has a lot of background information. On the screen, you won't be able to see it well, but there are little white dots going throughout that document. Once you take the picture, those documents will actually cut away any background that is on it. So if I take it on my desk, it will cut away the desk, and it will simply crop the actual document. As you can see, to the next one here, that's what it's done. It's taken away all the background, and it just literally focuses and crops in the document itself. And again, once you have created this, once you've taken all the pictures of the various pages of your document that you want to, with one touch again, you can send this on where you need to send it on, whether it's the cloud, you can email it. You can also see on here there's a couple pro features. There is, much like most of these apps, there is an upgrade ability. For this one, I just never thought I needed to upgrade. I've kept it at the free rate. I think it's only $4 to actually upgrade. But the only thing that is the downside is I can't print it right from my phone. And for me, the other one that is maybe the downside is that I have to, and maybe it's actually a good thing, but I actually have to go back and delete it. It will only allow me to store a few documents that I've actually created, that I've scanned in, so to speak. So it doesn't give you a big library, but maybe that's the best for efficiency anyway, is to not have things taking up storage on my phone. So with that, I hope you've learned about a few apps that will save you a little time and make you a little more efficient. And I hope that I was able to show you a glimpse of what's possible on your phones and tablets, and that hopefully you'll embrace them as an important tool for you as a chamber executive. Feel free to, again, beyond what Crystal has for questions now, but contact me on LinkedIn or reach out to me via email if you have any questions. Always happy to talk a little technology. Always happy to learn from you as well if you've got some good suggestions for me. So Crystal, right on 11:29, I'm going to turn it back to you.
All right, great. I'm going to actually share one of my favorites, if you don't mind.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. One of the ones that I really like is this one, Expensify. Have you used that one before?
What's it called?
Expensify. Is it showing up on your screen?
It's not showing on my screen, but I'm in full screen mode, though. I don't know if it's showing on anybody else's. Okay, well, if it is showing on your screen, it's called Expensify, EXPENSIFY, and it is a expense report app. And like your other scan function apps, you scan your receipts, and you can store them in folders, and it'll give you a report of that folder
whenever you decide to download it. So you no longer have to keep paper receipts.
I love it. Is
So
that a free app?
It is a free app.
Very good, because I used to use one called, or I do use one called EVERNOTE, or Lemon Wallet, which is a great one. It's got some free aspects to it. But Lemon Wallet, I ended up buying I think the $5 or $10 upgrade so that I could do a lot of what you just said. So you just would have saved me $10 had I talked to you sooner, Crystal.
There you go.
I will definitely check out Expensify. Thank you.
Expensify, right. So we do have a couple of questions here. Let's see. One question is from Ann Barman, EVERNOTE. Can you record a whole event and also take notes at the same time?
Yes. I honestly don't know if there is a length of time with which you can record audio, meaning when you say a whole event, whether it's multiple hours. I don't know what that megapixel or that megabyte limit is, but all I know is I have recorded several 1 or 2 hour presentations that I've never had a problem reaching that. But yeah, the beauty of it is when you hit the audio recording, it will show as a flashing red bar at the top of your screen, and that was the case both on my BlackBerry and on my iPhone. It will show a blinking red bar saying that the audio is being recorded, yet I still have access to the note portion of EVERNOTE so I can continue to take notes on what I'm listening to, all at the same time.
Okay. Let's see. Someone else said, I tried to set up Google Voice on my phone, but it says that my provider doesn't allow it. Does that seem correct? I have Verizon Wireless.
Not that I'm aware of, because I've set a lot of people up that have Verizon, so it may just take a little more work on trying to figure out maybe Google, issues setting up Google Voice with Verizon. But I know plenty of people that have Verizon that use Google Voice. Okay.
And this other question seems a little technical. How can Sign Now be used on a PC minus the signature option?
I honestly don't know the answer to that question. I've never used it. I do know that I can access the documents that I've done within Sign Now that I've signed a signature to. I do know that I can go in and get to those, but I've never actually tried to do all the rest. There are other apps that are capable of doing that. I can't necessarily give you one offhand that you can interact easily with, but I wouldn't be surprised if you can do some of that on your PC.
Okay, and do you know if that app will allow you to keep a copy for the sender? Like, will I keep a copy? Is it stored for me as well when I send it to someone else, the signed copy?
Yes, so not only will it be in your Sign Now app library, if you will, but it will also be, it's very easy to throw it into, say, Dropbox. And Dropbox, by the way, is another great free app. If you're not using Dropbox, I highly recommend it. Dropbox is just basically an online storage. They give you tons of free storage. So with Sign Now, what I usually do is I usually drop my Sign Now documents into Dropbox so that I've got them in the cloud.
Well, do you recommend using Sign Now for confidential documents, credit cards, for memberships per se? Like, how do you feel, how comfortable are you with the security of Sign Now?
I'm very comfortable with it in terms of documents that are just asked of me to sign. It's also something that you can send out to people to have, you can send them a link to have them sign a document. However, what I will say is, as far as internet security protocols with Sign Now and credit cards, I do not know what the legality or security of those are. I wouldn't want to speak to that and suggest something that may not be a best course of action. I would, again, look into Sign Now to see if it has those capabilities for something like a credit card or, something that truly needs good storage. But I do all kinds of time sheets here that I sign. I do contracts on there, and I simply email them back and forth, that I've never had a problem. So that's just me personally.
Okay. Let's see. With EVERNOTE, do you sync your notes with your Office file cabinet on your server or in the cloud, or do those notes just stay in EVERNOTE?
I keep them just in EVERNOTE. As far as I know, that's what's nice about EVERNOTE, is that it's available without having to save them to a server, or save them to your hard drive if you don't want to. It frees up space because you can do that. For example, on my phone, I've got just a 16 gig iPhone, and with all the pictures that I take and all of the other things that I'm doing, I can use up that storage pretty quick. But I turn off cloud backup to Evernote because Evernote backs it up itself. Evernote has its own server. It's got its own storage capabilities. So it does allow me not to keep something somewhere else. It's all within Evernote. But again, with Evernote, it's very easy to drag and drop files into Dropbox if you want to have another backup for those documents and notes that you create.
Okay. And do you use Google Voice for anything other than voicemail transcriptions? For instance, using a fake phone number that forwards to you. Could you please explain how that function works?
I don't use it for that, but I do know people that do. I again, pretty much use Google Voice simply for the transcription service. But one of my very good friends has his own small PR company. He employs a couple people. He is solely based in Utah, at least as far as an office goes. However, he has clients in Arizona. And so in Arizona, he's worked it out through Google Voice that he has an Arizona local number that he ties to Google Voice so he can call out and or give them the Arizona number, and it all funnels into the same Google Voice account. So you could do that across many different phones. The only downside to Google Voice is it only works for mobile phones. It will not work for your desktop phone. So you can't sync your voicemail from your desktop to Google Voice. It's only on mobile. But that most people use mobile more often than anything else these days. I hope that answers that question.
Yes, I think so. And Ryan, we use RDP iTap Mobile where we can access our server from our phones or remotely. Are you familiar with that?
Not that one. I do have, I've got a couple different ones on mine that I access my server. I honestly can't even think of the names of that often because I don't use them too often. But those are great programs. Do you have a specific question on that?
No, I was just going to share that as an additional app that people can use. Of course, you might want to talk to your IT person to see what he or she recommends. Our IT person actually recommended this particular app for us, but that's not necessary. That may not be necessarily true for everyone else. But it's a great, if you want to get to your server from your phone, you're trying to look up a document you didn't have, or and it works across on iPad as well. It has saved my life many times.
Yeah, actually, and now I remember the one that I use, which is Pocket Cloud. So if that helps anyone at all, that's the one that I choose to use more than anything else. And there's also a program called Splashtop, which is really good as well from accessing a computer live from either your phone or your laptop or your tablet.
Okay. Let's see. People are asking for your slide, your contact slide again, so I'm going to make you the presenter again so you can have your contact slide up.
Okay. Oops. Now you can see everything. Let me, there we go.
There we go. Okay, and I think, let me just take a quick look here and make sure that we answered all the questions. Again, if we missed your question or you think of something that you want to ask Ryan, you can contact him at his email address there. He also is on LinkedIn and also has a Twitter account. So, you can find out a lot about these apps as well if you just Google them. They give summaries and snapshots of the screen that are very helpful.
Couldn't agree more.
Anything else you want to add, Ryan, to wrap us up?
I think the last thing I would say is, first of all, thank you for your time. But most importantly, try to take advantage at least of one of these apps, if not a couple of them, and see where you can build in and see what works for you to make your job a little bit better, a little bit easier, and make you a little bit more efficient in your day-to-day operations. But other than that, just know that I'm here to answer any questions if people have them. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Ryan. Everyone else, have a great day, and we'll see you on the next webinar. Thanks again.